still live.
I
Oh,
know. It's crazy.
I'll be dadgummed. Would you look at that? We're live. Oh my gosh, darned.
Oh,
Well, we're live, people.
you
And
snuck up on me. Hi.
yeah. Oh,
We're
hey,
live, I guess.
didn't see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. All right, guys, shared. Guys, shared on the platforms. It's good.
hmm hmm
Um, yeah, man, we're having a good old time over here. A
We
holly jolly
are.
Christmas, you might
We
say.
are, man. It's a beautiful, cold Thursday. And,
Tis, tis.
we're just doing it.
We are just doing it. Matter of fact, my laptop reads -3 degrees right now.
Wow.
Um,
That's not, it's not warm. That's not warm
Anybody
at
in
all.
Wichita knows what's up. The wind chill's like -25. My furnace just kicked back on. It did shut off for a second, which is good. Um,
hmm
I have it at 68 just so it will take breathers and I don't pay $1 million to Evergy at the end of the month. Um, yeah, this is absolutely insane. If you're on the live stream,
hmm
even if we're already done being live, let
Yep.
us know where you're at in the country or in the world and what temperature it is, because I might buy a flight if it's warmer.
Yeah, because I've heard that even Florida is supposed to be getting freezing temperatures, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, just let us know, how cold you're getting,
Well, it's every state in the continental United States was affected by this storm.
which is
That's crazy.
insane.
I
I
know.
mean, I guess we don't count Alaska.
Well, it's not continental. It's
Yeah,
not.
I
Yeah.
know, but I'm just saying they're already cold, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah. It's Alaska. Yeah. No.
They're used
Hawaii.
to this.
Hawaii is still Hawaii. They're still vibing out there.
Yeah, exactly. They're chilling.
Still vibing. So yeah, we wanted to come on here. This is gonna be a fun one. We look forward to this every year. Um,
hmm
this is going to be our annual look back at the year behind, what we've learned, the highlights, the struggles, everything that we took away from it in an effort to connect with you over those things and hopefully share some insights of what we gained
hmm
that connect with you in some way. What's great about the live stream and the past couple of years we've been doing this is you can share the highlights of your 2022 with us. And we want you to do that. We
We
very
do.
much want you to do that. So let us know in the comments some of the highlights, some of the lowlights. As we're going on, we got topics that we're going to go through here. So join in on the discussion with us. That's the best part of this podcast is we get to have this discussion with you in real time. We're catching up with you, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
and also before we jump into this, I want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone.
hmm
Um, by the time the recorded version of this goes live, which we're not recording yet, but it'll be the day after Christmas. It's our gift to you.
Yep.
but but as it stands now, we are 3 days out for Christmas. So another thing we want to know in the comments, what's everybody got going on for the holidays, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what you got, man? What you have going
You
for
know,
Christmas?
for Christmas, it's just gonna be spending time with my family. I think that's the
Yeah,
biggest thing, right? I'm just gonna be spending time with my family, being able to kind of just take this time to really kind of relax. I think that's probably one of the biggest things is I'm gonna have a whole nice week and a half off, which is gonna be lovely. So I am just gonna be relaxing. So I'm gonna be relaxing for Christmas with my family, and just also I'm also gonna get some video game time in. I always
heck
got
yeah,
to do that.
yep, yep.
So yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. I think it'll be a nice way to slowly bring in the new year. I think
Yeah.
that's.
I'm going to continue my quest to beat GTA 5 for the third time right after we get done with this. um, third time's the charm.
Oh yeah.
Well, I am going to. Well, first of all, a band in Kansas, the cover band, has a show tomorrow night at the Brickyard. It'll be a lot of fun. Um, we have Rudy Love Jr., who is very well known around here. We have Josue Estrada. He's very, very talented with the trumpet. And you think, okay, this guy plays trumpet, right? he doesn't just play the trumpet. Like the trumpet is his tool and the sounds are the canvas, bro. And I've never seen anyone. He has a pedal board for his trumpet, right?
Mm,
Just like I have effects pedals for my guitar. He
that's
runs
crazy.
his trumpet through these effects pedals. It's insane.
That
Um,
is crazy. Like, really,
yeah,
like,
I've never seen anything like it. It can add harmonies, delay, reverb, weird filter effects. Yeah, the way he uses it as a tool. And so his band's playing, and then it'll be us, and then we all come together for some Christmas cheer after we all go through our individual sets. It'll be a lot of fun. So,
yeah,
um,
sounds like it, man. Sounds like it'll be
Blake,
super fun.
yeah, the Blake Ellis, friend of the show, will be
Hmm.
in town for it. He's on a flight back right now. Hopefully, he doesn't get stuck. Um, and yeah, and so then he'll come back. He'll play drums on it. It'll be a great time. Playing uh, guitar in their Christmas Eve service. Our friend Ronell has his family in town, and he wants me to be able to meet them, so I might see them on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, we have Christmas Day. I'm just gonna be spending time with family, man, mom and dad, and my brother.
Nice. Here you go.
Yep. So
Nothing
it'll be
better.
good. It'll be good. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Hope everybody else is having a great holidays. Uh,
Hmm.
Happy
Hmm.
holidays.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
the cold's not getting you, and it's not ruining your holiday. Because I know there's a
right.
lot of flights out there that are getting delayed or canceled. Like you already talked about with Blake. So I hope
He
everybody
did.
can make it. Right.
Yep. Yep. He had a flight delayed. He did. And that is really my thing is, you can always work around some of this stuff. But man, when it keeps your family from being in town, that is a pain. It's a pain on
It is.
them and it's a pain on you.
It
So
is. It really is.
yeah. Well, let's get recording on this. We need to frame this in a way that's after Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll just keep it brief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it'll be a nice little quick one.
Yeah. Well, and brief as far as um uh just the intro part, I mean.
Well,
Um
yeah,
dude, this almost happened again. Your mic isn't showing up in my thing. Let me get this reset here.
it's not. I mean,
No,
it
no,
shows.
we're good. We're good now. We are
Okay.
good now.
Okay. So I was
Okay.
like, I checked it before we started.
Yeah,
So
we had a little bit of technical difficulties on the recorded audio last week, which is
we
unfortunate.
sure did. We sure
But,
did.
but we're going good now. So let's go ahead and hit record here. All right. Can you say some words?
There's some words.
Yep. Boom. Okay, we're good. Sweet. All right. 3, 2, 1. This is going live on Monday. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. I know we did. We spent time with family, took it easy, kept it relaxed, had a great time,
Hmm.
and ate a lot of food, obviously. Right.
Hmm.
Um, yep. And a lot of music too. So it was a lot of fun. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. What we're gonna do is something that we do annually on this show, and we did it on a whim the first time. It turned out to be something we really liked, and it seems like you guys really like as well. We're gonna do our year in review, the peaks, the valleys, the good times, the struggles, and what we learned through all of it. The goal of this, of course, is to look back and see how we can grow and hopefully give you something to chew on as well in your own life. How we can look back within the decisions that we made, the experiences that we've had over the past year, and what we can take from those to make us better, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we got a lot of things that we want to touch on. There's a bunch of different topics within the topic that we're going to discuss. So we hope you guys are ready to go into the Spider Verse with us, and we're definitely excited for this conversation. Before we jump into it, man, I'm going to do the plugs right now. The 3 best ways to
Do it
support
up.
the show. Right now, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. We do it every Thursday night, except for the times that we don't, but it's usually not very often. So
Mhm.
every Thursday night, we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. You can jump in on the conversation real time. What we're hoping for on this one is to hear about our viewers' experiences, what they've done over the past year, fitting the topic that we're talking about at that time, what they've experienced, the good and the bad, right? What they learned from it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we're going to do that. It's a two-way conversation we get to have. It's very exciting. The second best way to support us is to give us a rating and a review. Let us know what you think of each episode. And if you like us, let us know. It helps us wherever you're doing that. If you're on the stream or if you're on a podcast platform, it helps us grow and it puts us in front of more potential listeners.
Mhm.
Number three, if you want to support us monetarily and stay warm this winter and this frigid air, and let's be honest, man, that was a nice three. That was a very complex three there.
Oh yeah, thanks. I try my best.
Yeah, no, you did great. You did great.
Try to keep it
There,
spicy.
there are very few ways. There are very few ways you could stay more stylish and warm
Mhm.
than by getting some Ketchup Podcast merch. That's right. The shop
Mhm.
is linked wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. You can get a good clean hoodie, long sleeve, beanie. Those are just some of the things that'll keep you warm. We got a whole lot more on there though. So
Mhm.
check it out. That money will help go fund our production of this show because it does cost us money for those who don't know. So, um, with that said, man, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to look back because 2022 was there was so much that happened,
There was. There really was.
and I think it'll be beneficial to kind of put that out there and then just see what we learn and what we can gain from the audience being involved with it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Man, what an intro!
That was dope. You did great, bro.
Thanks, man. I had to just shift it into fifth gear, hit the gas, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's go ahead and do the intro. Three, two, one. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. Yeah, man, we've
Yeah,
done this 206 times. I think we're
I know.
probably pretty good at it by now.
Oh yeah, I mean we pretty much are on autopilot for the most part.
Oh man, don't say that. I mean, I don't want
Just
them
for
to
the
know
intro.
yeah, right. I don't want them to know I have Thursday night football on in the background. Yeah. um, no, I know. Yeah, it's smooth like butter, baby.
Mhm.
That's all you gotta say.
I
So,
got it.
all right. Oh my God. Yeah, -1 feels like -21.
Oh, that's a lovely sight, right? And we got a
Yeah,
freeze warning for us. It's 10 degrees outside. The
Lord.
fabled 10.
Fabled 10, huh?
Uh-huh. We hit
Yeah.
that 10 degrees.
I heard tale about 10 degrees. Dude, not fun. Not fun. Okay,
No, not fun at all.
let's go ahead and run it. All right, three, two, one. Since we got the plugs out of the way, man, let's just go ahead and jump right into these topics.
Yeah, man.
So number one, I want to hear. Let's just start with. I don't even know if I want to put a number on it. Do you? But do
Mm.
you want to? Let's say 5 personal highlights from this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, let's
I
start
think
with
that's
yours.
good. I think that's 5. I think that's good. So let's see. 5 highlights. That's you put me on the spot, so I'm trying to think through. Even though they are highlights that still, I feel like 2022 was a very eventful year. A lot
Yeah,
happened, a lot going on. And so just trying to think back, I think one of the big ones is, me getting a new car. Um, Also, me, I guess, really just me getting a new car and that car being an electric car, I think has been a really big, um, like a really really big highlight of this year. It's been really great. It still continues to shape, you know, everything. So it's been a really really great opportunity there. Um, Let's see. What's another great highlight from this year? I think another one was probably my trip to, or I should really say, our trip to Park City, Utah.
Yeah,
That was a really really fun one.
you and
You know,
Christina, not
yeah,
you.
yeah, me and Christina. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, sorry. Um, uh, yeah, me and Christina going to Park City, Utah for our anniversary. That was a really amazing trip. Um, and it really kind of explored a place that I didn't even think of, right?
yeah,
And so that was really cool. I think another highlight of this year was Bro Trip 2022. Man, that was fun.
it was great.
Um, it was a really great time. I mean, if you guys watched those episodes, if you haven't, please do. Um, but that was a great time. I feel like we actually really got a chance to really just kind of um, have fun, relax, and just kind of chill with each other more than I feel like we have been able to for a little bit.
A long time.
So
Yep,
so I would say that's probably another big highlight of mine. We checked out places that I've been to, but you haven't, and even some places that I haven't even been to.
true.
So um, it was a truly amazing experience. 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Yeah. Well, I think those are all good ones, man. Um, and I'm trying to think of mine. I want to put this up on the chat so people can get involved and let us know.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm trying to think, man. There's so many. Um,
Hmm.
and some of them kind of go hand in hand with each other, right? So this is why I feel like I can come up with five. So one would be the album release from my band, our now self-titled album, right? Steal the Sun.
Hmm.
And I say that because I put so much work into that,
Hmm.
and man, what a lot of work it was. I'm very much looking forward to doing it as a team on the next one. And now that I have these connections, I expect that to flourish next time and the process to be a lot smoother.
Hmm.
Um, but that was a whole process. And um just the fact that it came out, it was well received. Actually, just the other day, man, we've increased our followers on Facebook, which is where we've really hit. I'm not hating on that at all, because when it comes to social media, Facebook is still number one.
Yeah.
um, and so we've increased that by like 220%. I'm sorry, 120%. We've doubled and then some our following since the single came out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's amazing. So that and the reception of it, having people genuinely like it was a huge blessing. The shows that we got to play gained open for Saving Abel and Hinder and Texas Hippie Coalition and otherwise, like, it was awesome. And especially for me, all of them were great. All of them were great, but especially for me, who had listened to Saving Abel ever since I was 16.
Hmm.
And Addicted was the first song alphabetically on my iPod, so it just come on every time I plugged it in my truck. Um, I love that, and that was a really great experience. Just not only that, but to play such great venues. Um, the one that went the best was with Hinder, for
Hmm.
sure, um, because there were hundreds of people there, and a good portion of the crowd came up to the front with us and rocked out. And I sold a ton of merch, which means they really liked us, and that
Yeah.
really helped support us a lot. And so those those were moments I'll never forget. But also, I would say, and this to me would be a third one, would be doing uh, um the radio, getting on the radio, dude. I'll never
Oh
forget
yeah.
that. I streamed the first radio station that we were ever on, in between the sets of one of my acoustic gigs. Um, I took a break right before I knew it was about to play. I went out to my truck and listened to it. It was awesome, man. Um, my parents called me because they streamed it too, and it was crazy. I think um it went like Rat, which is an '80s hair metal band,
Mhm.
and then one other band. I don't remember. It was a modern band, and then it was us. And the song fit. It was the title track of our self-titled album,
Mhm.
and the song fit. And I was like, whoa! And it kind of gave me chills, man. So all those experiences related to that, I would say a lot of the first part of the year was kind of a blur when
Mhm.
it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, just really outside of those things, man, I'm just really proud of how the growth in my job has happened. Um,
Mhm.
and and just getting these new opportunities to grow in the knowledge of social media. That's helped out my band a lot. There's a lot
Mhm.
of nuance to how you type stuff, to how you edit stuff. Um, in the context of Facebook, just having a plethora of content just helps you out, which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Exactly.
Um, and so gain more knowledge on that, and then only to find out that we expand that part of the role at my job, and now all of a sudden, like I'm very well suited for that. So that was a God thing. Um, and man, I don't know. I think just I don't know. You're right. I think 5 is kind of tough, but
It is a little tough. It is a little tough.
yeah, I mean, I think just keeping those things all running, but also just maintaining or really living in this space for a year and having it for a year. Um, and then now, feeling more comfortable here than I ever have before, and really feeling like I got I don't know. I don't know really how to say it, but like I have it under control kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's
Which
a
is great.
part of oh go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say, no, that's great. That's it's a big deal. It really is, man. Moving out on your own and having your own place is like such a big change, right? It's a
Yeah.
big change, and it's got there's a lot to it, and it really, I feel like you kind of really come into your own whenever you kind of get that opportunity, and so it's all amazing to know that it's had such a big effect on you.
Yeah. No, I mean I feel proud of this place, and I mean, to your point, I've lived on my own before. Um
Mhm.
but it wasn't on my own. It was with two other guys, and
Yeah.
so this, I mean, is actually my own place. And so just having that, been in the seat for a year now, I don't know, it feels like it took that long for it to finally feel like mine, you know?
Mhm. No, I
Uh,
get that.
yeah, it just takes time. That's really all it is. But all of that is not to say I don't agree with you on the travel side of things. I was just saving that for a different part of this discussion. So, um, let's talk about a little bit more in depth if you want to. Those
Mm.
two trips that you mentioned, any others that you may have. Why were those highlights? What made those memorable to you?
I'll start with the anniversary trip. I think, one, it was kind of us being able to continue our tradition. I think, whenever we first started dating, we actually kind of made it a tradition to go on trips. It didn't have to be big extravagant trips, but they were trips nonetheless, and they were ones that we could kind of spend our time together, spend very important time together. And so I felt like it was just a really big testament to kind of like us and how our relationship has been, as well as, I've never been to Park City, Utah. It was uh, very beautiful. It really was, and there's a lot to offer there, um, and also, like, just I got a chance to drive an Ionic 5, which was awesome. That was
Sure.
truly like one of the bigger highlights too. That was, it was a car that I had wanted to, I guess, technically crossover. um,
Yeah.
but it was something that I wanted to drive, and that was an awesome surprise that Christina had for me. Um, so that was an amazing time. Like there was just so many different portions of that really um kind of solidified it as something. I like, we do like to travel, but I think it means a little bit more whenever you are doing it for a specific purpose, kind of like a bigger purpose, kind of like an anniversary and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
um and
There's more
then
meaning behind it already, to
yeah,
specifically do that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and then I would say for like our bro trip, man, I think that was I think one of the biggest things was that it was long overdue, man. Like it was long overdue. We needed that, because the last one that we had was in Seattle. Um, and
I know.
although, yeah,
2019. Yep.
exactly, which is crazy, right? Um, and although it was, say, in Dallas, not saying that Dallas was bad, but it was just, I know, at least at first, right? It wasn't our main one that we were going
Yeah.
for. I feel
We're
like,
going New Orleans.
yeah, exactly.
Big Easy.
Um, but I feel like we were able to accomplish so much within that time period, and I think even just having you there for like a week or so, I think really also contributed to it becoming like a really, really good, um, exciting, just experience.
Yeah.
One that is super memorable. I mean, we had that we had that great experience at Bishop Cider Co., which was super fun.
Yeah.
Um,
That
um,
that's a whole story, man.
that is a whole
That's not cut
story.
out for the podcast either.
No, no, it's not fully PG-13. Um, but yeah, no, we had a great experience on that, right? That was amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome experience at Andretti's, um, and just so much there. Like, I can keep going, but I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why that trip, or even those trips in general, have been such a big part of my 2020. Even though they happened kind of towards the latter half of the year, I still think um, it still became a mainstay, main highlight, right?
Yeah. I agree. And I wanted to mention real quick, we got a comment and I'll jump over to that in just a second. But I completely agree. Top travel moment of me for me this year was going to well, there are two of them, but definitely going to Dallas with you. It was amazing. I mean, it was the quality time that, as brothers that we are, that we really hadn't had for a long time. And man, just the fact that, I was down there at your place for over a week, and
Mhm.
not only did it not feel like it, but I mean, that's also something that's never been a question to us, whereas other people sometimes, you'd be like, "Oh man, that's a long time to have somebody
Mhm.
over," you know. Um,
Mhm.
and it's just never a question. It's like if you needed to stay here for a month, like okay, you know. So so just those experiences going, like you said, going to Andretti, the karting, the karting place.
Mhm.
Um, eating all the delicious food that we did, man. It never
Oh,
takes
yeah.
much. We don't have to do anything crazy, but gain the opportunity to just try these different things that weren't available or we couldn't afford when I lived there before I moved up
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
And getting to do them now, it was awesome, man. I mean, it was absolutely one of the top moments of this year for me. And I really appreciate it, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Even just driving around your Tesla and
Oh,
getting to
yeah.
check so that, yeah, and kind of getting firsthand experience on that, so um that was awesome. So let's go over to Christina's comment here. She says,
Mhm.
top travel moment aside from what Denison mentioned was going to Maryland to babysit my then 5-month-old niece and got some
Mhm.
very cheap birth control for the next few years. Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that trip. That was, fun.
I know. I remember you telling me about that one, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was something else. I don't blame you. Sometimes it just depends, because I have a friend that I'll catch up with her over coffee, right?
Mhm.
And she'll bring her daughter with us or with her. Um and man, every time I hang out with that little girl, I'm like, I want one. I'm
Mhm.
like, I want one. And then it's just somebody else. You're like, yeah, I can hold off on that for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
No, yeah, I know, Christina's niece is she was super adorable, super cute. But it was, she was at that point, yeah, she was 5 months old, so it was a lot. Especially I've never babysat anyone that young before. So I
Sure.
think that was probably another big thing is, yeah, I've never done that. So it was very different of an experience than I expected. Um, and yeah, I felt like, what it would feel like if you were a parent of a newborn.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you got that firsthand experience for sure.
Hmm.
Um, Man, the other top travel moment for me this year was going to Arkansas,
Mm,
um, near Eureka Springs. We have a place that my family, whether it's my grandparents or my parents or whoever, go to every year. And we went this year. I hadn't been able to go for a long time, but now with the way my job is now, I can afford to go there. I have the PTO to go there,
hmm.
and not only that, but they have solid Wi-Fi. And so I
Yeah.
worked. I worked 3 of the days I was out there. Two, three, I can't remember. But
Hmm.
it was just beautiful. It was spring. It's right on Table Rock Lake. It was absolutely. It's just every. It was. I will never felt or forget how it felt. It was just so beautiful out there, and the energy I had at the time. I was in high gear to get everything ready for the album because I was just about 2 months out from the album release.
Hmm.
I needed t-shirts made. I needed social media graphics designed, all these kind of things. And I was able to partner with some people that, quite honestly, I would say two of them I'm friends with now, especially the guy that designed the t-shirts. Not only he's blown away every single person that's looked at those shirts because every single person, one of those three designs, they're like, this is dope.
Hmm.
And it's all up to him, man. I just stumbled upon him on Upwork, not sponsored, but I will always recommend Upwork for your freelance needs. And
Hmm.
because that's where it's not like Fiverr. It's like these people actually do it for a job kind of a
Yep.
thing on
Yep.
Upwork. And man, this guy, and I follow him on Instagram. That's how we keep in touch is via Instagram. And all of his designs are killer. He is so good. And he lives out in I don't remember the exact city, but Southern California. I don't really remember where, but
Hmm.
um anyway, so that was such a cool experience for me to be with my family, to be able to just spend time and we're not really doing anything too extravagant, you know. And
Hmm.
I mean honestly, yeah, we there were a couple days we just watched TV because it'll rain a lot when we're there, but to be in
Yeah.
a beautiful location at a beautiful place, beautiful weather, and just also have that excitement, that energy of what's to come, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty cool. Those were really the travel highlights. Um, this is kind of a left turn on this one.
Mm.
So health, wellness. How do we prioritize our physical and mental health this past year?
Mm. Mm. That's a hard one, I would say. But I will say that this year, I started uh, relatively recently, I should say. It's more like the latter half of this year, but I started therapy, so that I think that's probably one thing that I felt that was kind of a need, right? Something that I felt like was really really helpful to um, help me with past traumas, but also just help me moving forward, right? Sometimes it's just good to have someone that you can talk to and talk through issues that you have going on in your life. And it's been very very helpful, so I'll say, mentally, I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Uh, and then physically, I think really, um, I know, I would say throughout this year we have tried our best to kind of eat a little bit better, as much as we could, right? So that way, it's just something that you have to do to take care of your body, right?
Yeah,
And I've also, tried a couple of different things on and off. I'm not going to say that I have been able to stay with a consistent workout regimen, but I have had them on and off to really help me kind of um try to get back into that groove, right? Because I know at one point I was, it was easy for me to just consistently, work out, each week or whatever. But I know that I have slacked a little bit on that. And so it's something that throughout the year I've been trying to kind of continue. And it is something that I do want to uh, strive to get better at going into the next year. So,
sure.
what about you?
Um, I think that's great stuff, man. That's really great stuff. And I wanted to ask too, um, as a follow up question to that,
Mm,
you've been doing online therapy, right?
yeah. Yep. I
So
have.
how have you liked that? Obviously, you don't have to go in depth as only as
Oh,
much
yeah.
as you want to, of course, but how have you liked that process? Um, because you see kind of mixed reviews on the premise of that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
it would benefit people to know, what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think honestly, I think it's great. I think one of the biggest things though that I think a lot of people don't tell you, and I think in general people don't understand, it's similar to kind of like when you're shopping around for like your general um, like doctor, right?
Yeah.
You shop around for your general practitioner.
Mm,
um you don't just say like, well, this guy looks good, or this guy or girl or whatever like that looks good, I'll go
sure.
ahead and they'll be my doctor right now. You usually will go around to different ones and figure out if you mesh well with them. And so I did the same thing with when I was looking for a therapist, right? I shopped around and um, did different sessions with different ones to come to the conclusion of the therapist that I settled on, and she's been very very helpful. I
Yeah,
think I've enjoyed every one of the sessions that we've had, and I think it's really just um, helped me open my eyes to certain things that I wouldn't have noticed beforehand. And I think that's one of the biggest things, right? I think it's getting that chance to have someone kind of guide you through some issues that you may have or not even know that you had.
yeah,
Um, and do it in an effective way to where you will be able to come out in a better position
sure.
mentally. So,
Yeah. Well, and obviously, that's what we all want. Is to be. I think a lot of people base it off of feelings that they had in the past, you know,
hmm,
um, and they want to know how to get back to that kind of a thing, you know.
yeah, exactly.
And I would estimate too that life can get so hectic when we were younger and it was more simple. We knew how to maintain that mental, well, just being in the place we want to be mentally better because there wasn't
Hmm,
so much going on. Uh,
hmm,
whereas now I think that is where the benefit of therapy and counseling and things like that comes in. Do you
yeah,
agree with that?
exactly.
You feel that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, well, and I would say, because I would say more along the lines of like, sometimes it's not even just, when you're younger, you're able to kind of go through that and be able to kind of like better manage it. I would almost say that when you're younger, you're just sometimes oblivious to that stuff that's
Sure,
going on,
definitely.
and oblivious to like how it affects you, because you may not be, fully emotionally developed enough to understand what's going on. So I think that is probably one of the bigger things that therapy, I feel like, helps with, is that it helps you go back sometimes and deal with that past trauma, or even just past feelings that you never thought could have such an effect on you as you are currently.
Sure, sure. No, I agree. And also, I think that was great perspective on that, man.
Hmm.
I want to say too on the physical side of things, man. I know I complain about the food options up here in Wichita,
Hmm.
um, because there's just not a lot of healthy options if you're going to go out and eat. But man, if I had all that stuff in Dallas, I'm just thinking about what we ate just while I was down there. Like I was like, man, who knew that a slider place would be the most scrumptious of meals that I had the whole time?
Oh
I'm
yeah, no, that place was amazing.
That place was amazing. I hope I didn't screw up our live stream here. Okay. So yeah, so to answer the question, um, man, so like I said, the first half of the year was kind of a blur. I felt like I was um really just, running a race against time. Not just so something very key happened to me earlier in the year, and I'm very thankful for it.
Hmm.
But Jeremy Spring, who's been a friend of mine for a while now, and we've had him on the show a while back, but he's well known for singing, songwriting, toured the world, with a band in Kansas when it was an original band. But he set me down and came up with an album release plan, just of stuff that it was so simple,
Hmm.
but it was stuff I wouldn't have thought of, you know? And
Hmm.
even just like I've always wanted to shoot a music video,
Hmm.
but I wasn't gonna do it because I was like, I don't think that's the best way to spend my money right now. He goes, you guys should hit up so and so. I bet he can do a quality music video for a lower price while he's getting his name out there. Oh, just simple suggestion like that. And it took off. Like we got very good reception on that video and it helped us grow.
Hmm.
Um so he's been a huge um piece of guidance, piece of assistance. He does booking at the Brickyard, and obviously we play there a lot in the cover band together. But that's where I got to do the album release show, was at Brickyard. It just has really, really helped me a lot. And I probably should have mentioned that in the personal highlights earlier. Um, but with that said, when we set that list out, I knew how beneficial a lot of the things pre-release and during the release were going to be. And so I really set out to make them all happen. And because of that, the first year was really kind of a blur. And what I learned was during that time I would go out, with friends or whatever once a week, and I never felt guilty about it because I was like, this has been so much like every night I'm either playing or writing or uh promoting, or practicing. I need to do something that's just a complete opposite of that, right? and
Hmm.
and that really just would help me get out of my headspace, or that headspace, and reset and not get so burned out. I do remember us talking about that midway through the year, but that for me
Yeah.
was, as far as my mental wellness goes, that's something I really learned to manage, was burnout, and just making sure that doesn't happen, you know. Um, so for me, I will say that this past couple months, probably I haven't been as productive as I would like to be
Hmm.
with the music side of things. Not that good things haven't been happening, because they certainly have,
Well, yeah.
but I'm also kind of just charging up for that push in a couple weeks. I want to hit the new year hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so doing that, I think physically, well, and yeah, I would probably say that's the biggest thing mentally. Physically, man, well, I have glasses. You know, I have glasses. So,
Mhm.
uh, yeah. So, spoiler alert. In case you weren't, in case you didn't notice, you're like, something. John's doing something different.
Mhm.
I can't put my finger on it. But yeah, I got glasses, so I'm taking my eyesight very seriously. And in my glass or my eyes have gotten used to these a lot. I'm
Mhm.
actually starting to get to the point where I kind of like wearing them more than I don't, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, but even if I take them off right now, man, like you definitely have that look for a second, like you're normally wearing glasses, you know.
Mhm.
But your eyes adjust and everything, and what's nice, what I will say is nice, is because of these two things. I
Mhm.
can look in the same place longer. To be
Mhm.
honest, I've sometimes felt like I had ADD, but it's because my eyes were darting around all the time because I couldn't focus, you know?
Mm. Yep.
And so that's one. Two, even when I don't have these on, I still read better because they aren't so strained from not having any assistance at any time, you know? So
Mhm.
I would say my glasses were the biggest thing. I am trying to get my diet back in check. Um, it's never been terrible, but I have had enough, mainly from just being on stage and stuff. I've had enough photos taken of me that I know I can be better, you know? Um, and so I'm pushing myself. I really haven't increased weight or reps or anything in the gym for a long time because I'm really kind of happy with where I'm at and I don't want to hurt my joints.
Mhm.
But I think I am getting back to a point where I'm really just dialing in the fine details to really just kind of take myself to a next level physically that I feel proud of, you know?
Yep.
Um,
Which is
and
good.
so yeah, so those things, kind of dialing the diet back in, um, which again goes hand in hand with the gigs actually, because when I was that busy, flat out, sometimes I didn't have time to make food, you know. And so I think that would be a thing I learned too, is don't sacrifice that time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
make the time to make food. Um, and then actually, just with my job, this was really the last thing. Working in public health, there's been a lot of things that have really made a difference that I've learned about just by reporting on it, doing blogs on it, stories, simple things that we all kind of take for granted, but can make a huge difference, right? For example,
Mhm.
we did this video with this woman who had breast cancer and she had a hysterectomy and a mastectomy because they caught it early enough. And
Mhm.
she didn't even come in to get a mammogram or anything like that, but she just came in for annual wellness visit and they found it and she's fine now, you know.
Mm.
So things like that, like taking that into consideration, how powerful and important that can be, just getting a regular checkup, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it's taught me a lot working in healthcare. It really is about those simple things that can improve your health for a long time, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um cool. So what about next topic? Another
Mhm.
left turn here. Relationships. What relationships were the most important to you this past year, and how did you strengthen and nurture those connections? So for me, this is any level of relationship, right? And
Yeah.
I would flat out say that for me, I just mentioned Jeremy, right? So Jeremy is a great example of that. He was a relationship that grew, and he really invested in me to help me get a great start. Well, I don't want to say start to my music career, but for the first release of a body of work under that band title. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah, he really invested in me. So that's one. But there's a lot. So yeah. What do you got, man? And
You
why?
know,
Obviously, add the why too.
well, yeah, of course, of course. I think one of the bigger ones is I would still say my relationship with my girlfriend. I think it's been um, this year's been a lot. It has been, but I think it's been one of those things that has been um, just important throughout this year. Um, uh, and has really helped me, I think, through like, very tough times or even trying times, or, you know, um, it's just, I think my relationship with Christina has been tested, but also strengthened in some ways. And I
Yeah.
think, it's one of those things that continues to evolve and continues to grow, and it's something that I've been very blessed and thankful for. Um, I think another one, honestly, has been, um, the relationships that I've made, um, and grown in my work life. Um, I have, I'll say, the work that I do is, um, fun, and sometimes, or I should say, since I'm in IT, I find that sometimes IT can be a very thankless job. But I think one of the biggest things that I have been incredibly blessed to have is, a bunch of coworkers, a group of coworkers understand, um, who understand me, who understand, um, what I'm going through. They understand, like, they really want to try and help me grow. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I want to, or that I have been, um, super happy and super excited to see grow. Um, because, yeah, they've helped me through, all sorts of different things, and have been incredibly supportive. It's been an environment that I have truly enjoyed. So, um, I think that's probably one of the bigger things. I think a lot of people kind of um, miss out on that, or don't have that opportunity in their workplace. And so I was very blessed, that this year that I had a group of coworkers that were that way. And sometimes, I guess one of the things that I noticed too is sometimes you don't notice those bonds that you've created with them until you kind of like sit back and really like look at it,
Yeah.
and how important those bonds are. So yeah.
That's good stuff. And to have those relationships within a work context too. I mean, it's not always common, you know.
Hmm.
I was kind of
Hmm.
spoiled with it at Home Goods and early days of working at the news station, you know, and it's not always the case. So that is something worth cherishing for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Man. Oh gosh. Well, as you know, I very much feed off of person to person interaction, you know. I love that. And so you know, for me, I'm thankful just for my parents. You know, they're always there for me. They're great parents, and they're great supporters. I'm very thankful for that. Um, I mean, there's so many things I could say about them.
Hmm.
um, Even just surprising me at an acoustic gig I was playing last week. You know, it's not even like it's just the fact that they wanted to surprise me and wanted to be there, you know. And
Yeah.
they've heard me perform more than anybody on the face of the planet. You know.
Hmm.
So so that kind of stuff really means a lot to me. Um you know, friends new and old, man. Um Obviously I talked about Jeremy, but there's a lot of people within the local music industry and some people in Nashville, some people elsewhere that I've been able to forge connections with, um, on a, you know, I guess you could call it a business standpoint because of music. Um, Again, going back to the album release, just being able to build that respect
Hmm.
and forge relationships off of that name, the band name, and whatever, I think is really cool, you know, because it starts there like, oh, that's the guy from Steal the Sun, or that's the guy from A Band in Kansas. But then some of these people I've become, you know, really good friends with, and it's been a great opportunity, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so I love that. Let's see. There's Derek, who is a mutual friend of my brother and I, he and I have gotten very close this past year. Um, and I'm thankful for that. Blake Ellis, who again, talked about him earlier, but he and I literally talk every day, like in some form or fashion. We
Hmm.
we text or we voice text or some, we phone call every single day. And man, just like that kind of camaraderie is amazing. Um, and so yeah, I mean we 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 talk a lot and we have a very tight bond because of that, and I'm thankful for that. Um, and then obviously you, man. I mean,
Hmm.
I feel I said this when I was down there, but I feel like you and I are in as good of place as we've been in for a long time. And just the fact that, well, obviously this is a huge factor for that,
Oh yeah.
doing this podcast together. But we get to keep in touch in long form at least once a week. And
Hmm.
our friendship, man, I mean it's I don't even want to talk about how it's grown stronger year after year. At this point it's unbreakable,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Um
Like, I mean, and it's also pretty amazing just that it's times when we need each other. It's crazy how our lives are reflecting each other, right?
yeah,
And we are able to kind of work through those issues together in a way that that I feel like is so special and so different. You know.
it is. And it's again God's timing for sure. And I
Hmm.
wouldn't um you know, yes, those times when we need to lean on each other, or even just the times are celebrating something too,
Hmm.
it really has been miraculous. And that would be a whole other podcast for you guys of the ways that in the past uh 11 and a half years,
Hmm.
Dennison and I have had the exact same, well, our version of the exact same thing going on at the exact same time. It's
Yep.
wild. Wild. And so I can't, I mean, like I mentioned with my parents as well, I can't put that into words what that means to me, man. I really I mean, I can try and I just stumble over my tongue, trip over my tongue, but it really means a lot. And then I think, just to cap that, just growing relationships again with people who have been in my life for a while. Some people are at church, actually. I've been growing relationships with some of them. um,
Hmm.
I just haven't had the opportunity to for a while. And then other people are people we grew up with, and I'm able to pour into them more and invest in them more, and that makes me happy,
Yeah, exactly.
um, so getting to do those things for me, I think the takeaway is it just naturally happens. Just let it naturally happen, you know? Um, and to an extent, right? Like you have to put forth the effort. Um, you have to reach out or pick up the phone when people call you and those kind
Hmm.
of things. But can but connect, and then just let it take its course from there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I think this is kind of my testament to life as well. It's really only as hard as you want to make it. Life can be pretty easy. Not to say that you're just skating through and not pursuing anything, but
Of course.
it's how you react to it, right? Life is a series
Yes.
of reactions.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Is and yeah, how you learn to take the punches or roll with whatever's going on is the way that you is the way that you can make your life great, right? Um, yeah, I think one of my coworkers, um, you know, she talks about just how just continuously having that kind of positive outlook and taking uh, your own situation that you're in and like spinning it as a positive is a way to kind of really brighten up not just your own day but others. And so that is something that I have tried my best to kind of try to do myself.
Sure.
um, and I think that's a great way to do it. regardless of their situation, you can try your best to try to make the best of it. Not saying that it invalidates the feelings that you have, because I think that is something that also needs to be, if you are feeling a certain way, I think that they need to be, we need to talk about it, right? You need to work through those, but I do think that there's ways to kind of help you kind of continue to move towards a successful like time or a year or whatever like that.
Right. And yeah, I mean, and again, and to your point as well, just understanding that your framing of something determines if it's good or bad, how you perceive it, right?
Yep.
It's only something's only bad because you've decided it's bad, you
Yep.
know. So that doesn't mean be a sociopath and don't decide
Yeah.
hitting somebody with a car wasn't bad. But
Hmm.
but just understand that you control your outlook on life.
Yep.
Raul is in the chat, and Raul, first of all, you left an article, and I forgot to reply back to you. This was a couple weeks ago now, and so I'm going to do that right after we get done with this live stream. And he says, "Wishing you both continued success for the new year. Thank you so much, man, and same from
Hmm.
us to you as well."
Yes. Yes.
Um, and that's a really good example considering we were just talking about relationships and all that stuff. Raul is the guy that I worked with for a while, and
Hmm.
then through the magic of technology and social media, we've been able to keep in touch through things like this podcast and know what each other's doing, stay up to date. It's really awesome. So I'm thankful for that, man. You're a great dude. I hope you're doing well,
Hmm.
and the same to you as well. Um,
Yeah, and
okay,
thank you,
so
Raul. Thank you for like. I also wanted to say like support, right? You've been on many of our podcasts, on many of our episodes, and it's just been really cool. Like I don't know you, but I feel like I get to know you, right? I know that's one of the bigger things that we have for our podcast, but I think it's kind of really important, or it's, I guess I should really say, I think it's really, really special that we get this opportunity in general. So
I agree. Yep, very well said. I completely agree. The next bullet point I put out was what did we learn or achieve this past year that we're particularly proud of? Kind of feel like that's been the crux of this entire podcast, don't you?
yeah, exactly,
I mean, is
exactly.
there anything that you would like to add to that? Anything,
No.
yeah, learned or accomplished? I mean, I don't really have either. I mean, I would say for me heading into the new year, I really want to, and this is going to get off in the weeds pretty quick, and I apologize, but I really want to get better on guitar.
Mm,
Um, and that's not in like this self-deprecating way of like, oh, give me a compliments, no. Like I know I'm good on guitar. However, I also know I've essentially perfected the same riffs I've been playing for like the past 5 years. And I
mm-hmm.
really want to break out of that box. That's what I really want to do. I want to keep it within the context of what I like to do and how I like to perform, obviously.
Of course.
Um, but I want to expand that and expand the capabilities within that. That is one thing for me. I know in the new year as well, I'm going to jump into sim racing, um, which I'm very excited for. I've always known I would be pretty good at it, and from a competition standpoint, jumping into that, I'm very excited for it. I want so this is actually a sidebar, but
Mm,
IndyCar just announced that they are. So I'm going to do iRacing because it's like the leader
mm-hmm.
in um, in sim racing, the industry leader, and that's where I mean people can make a lot of money if they get good on iRacing, and it's really accurate. They lost the rights to IndyCar.
Mm,
So there's no IndyCar championship within iRacing now. And that was the route I was going to go with my career because I really feel like I'd be good with those open wheel cars. And so it's actually a really big, and this would be another podcast for another time, but it's a huge debate going on in the sim racing world right now with how IndyCar needs to be marketing to the next generation because more so than any other major form of motorsports, except maybe sports car racing, their main
Mhm.
demographic is like 45 and upwards, right? Because
Yep.
those people watched it in the 90s when it was really good, you know,
Mhm.
and now it's not like that. So,
Yeah.
well, it is. I actually think IndyCar is fantastic, but it doesn't have the name recognition or the publicity that it used to. Also, I want to throw in Raul's response before I get off in the weeds again. He says, "Love what you guys are doing and continuing the conversation, reaching for new understanding. Thank you so much, man." And that's
Yes. Thank
again, you're kind of tying in perfectly with what we're talking about, man.
you. Mhm.
Because that is something that from this podcast I've learned so much, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Same.
through our discussions. You've taught me so much, man. To be honest, you really have.
No, you've taught me, man. Like it's this podcast has been super amazing, and it's also just super amazing to kind of um be able to talk to you about like things that are really just interesting, and I get to learn from you and grow from you, and I get to learn from our audience, because I think that's the other thing, right? Especially this year has been insane. Like, we're finally getting, we're finally getting close to kind of like, I wouldn't even say close, I would say we are finally getting to the point of uh
Yeah.
and where it's that community discussion. We may have our own topics, but we have an opportunity to have the community kind of steer where we go. um and I think that's just been an amazing opportunity for us.
Yeah, I completely agree. We have been blessed. And I know I've kind of made reference to this the past couple of weeks, but we've really been fortunate to have a major growth in our audience size on Facebook specifically,
Hmm.
from people all over the world. And so it's really increased our viewership to a point, it's interesting because we didn't know what was happening at first. Obviously, we were pushing the live stream for a long time,
Hmm.
and our listenership on audio platforms has gone down considerably. And it was very concerning to us at first. And then it took time and we kept seeing what was happening. And over time, we realized, well, we have a lot of those people have moved over to the live stream, you know? And
Yeah,
I think
exactly,
it's convenient,
exactly.
right? Now with Facebook, you can't close it and listen to it at the same time. But honestly, a lot of
Yeah.
people listen to vodcasts, if you want to call them that,
Hmm.
on the background, you know what I mean? And so I think like having that knowledge and then pursuing that, pushing it, watching it compound, watching it grow. And I mean, yeah, we're averaging triple digits now for the live stream, which is good. I'm proud of that.
Hmm.
Um, so thank you if you're new and listening to this. Thank you so much for trying us out and
Hmm.
jumping on the catch up with us. It really means a lot. Um, Raul, in response to favorite things you learned or ways you grew in 2022, he says, "Love what you guys are doing, opening new doors and having the conversation. Thank you, man. For real.
Hmm.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
you." And he says, "Growth comes from within. Be open to new ideas and new understanding," which I think is a great perspective. I mean,
Hmm.
no one's going to grow for you, and this is the thing for me that I struggle with like masterclass and all that kind of stuff, right? There's
Hmm.
always going to be things that you can, because to be honest, I want to do one. Lewis Hamilton has one, and obviously I talk about him a lot on here.
Hmm.
um, who better to learn from? His topic is winning at life, and who better to learn about that from than a seven-time champion, right? In
Yeah,
Formula One.
exactly, exactly.
But but at the same time, you can really only gain so much from that or motivational speakers or all those kind of things, because at the end of the day, you have to take theory and put it into practice, right? It
Hmm.
means
That
nothing if you're
application.
not doing it. Yes, it's the application, exactly. And it means absolutely nothing unless you're doing it and implementing it, applying it, like you said. Um, and so yeah, I mean that to me is so spot on what Raul is mentioning there. And we're all
Hmm.
capable of being, I don't know, the biggest change in our lives.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
we are capable of doing that ourselves. It just takes that right perspective, that all the things that we've been talking about through this podcast.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, as far as growing, well, and I guess we can talk about this. This will be the next subtopic of this.
Mhm.
Um, what were some of the challenges or setbacks that you had this year, and how did you overcome them?
That's a toughie. That is. I would say, um, I wouldn't say I had any true setbacks. I would say, I guess, but I think I did have challenges. I know work was probably one of my bigger ones.
Yeah,
This year was became kind of a very stressful period, especially during the summer. There's a point in which we had grown, um, my area, when it came to work, or I should really say the campus, kind of growing in their knowledge and their inquisitiveness, and so that increased the tickets that we would get. And then I was also kind of short staffed at that point and stuff. So I would say that. Um, that was a very difficult time. I was able to push through it because of the people that I had around me that were able to support me. Um, and so I think that's probably one of the biggest things is that I had people that I could lean on. I
yeah,
had people that I could, um, you know, be around and be with and be able to talk to them and be able to kind of help me guide me through those difficult moments that I was experiencing.
yeah,
So I think that was probably one of the biggest challenge that I faced it or that I faced it that I faced
yeah,
um this year. I think that was probably one of the bigger ones. You know, through that though, I was able to be able to do so many incredible things.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, definitely, man. Yeah, I know that for sure. Um, I'm trying to think. I think for me, probably one of the biggest challenges I've had this year is investing time and energy into the wrong people, you know?
mm, hmm.
Because there were times where quite honestly, I felt lonely this year, especially when I was so wrapped up in getting the album out. And but I'm like, I'm surrounded by people all the time, how
Hmm.
especially at that point of the year I was. And I'm like, how is it that I feel lonely, right?
Hmm.
And it was because I was investing that time, that energy in the wrong people. Um, and realizing that, I'm talking about this from business relations, if you want to call that for music, right? Or that kind of a thing, mainly was what it was.
Hmm.
And realizing that and understanding, man, some people just need to be acquaintances, some people just need to be, work relationships, business partnerships, if you will, and keep them at that. Not everybody has to be a best friend,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and so that goes back to something I mentioned earlier where I refocused that and I've been pouring more into um, the people that I already have those established friendships with, or kind of like pseudo brotherhoods with,
Hmm.
and growing that again. And it's funny because I've actually done less socially the past several weeks than I have for a long time. I feel less lonely than I have in that regard, right? Which I
Hmm.
kind of hesitate to label it as loneliness because I don't really like the idea of that, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, so that was a big one for me. Another one we just talked about before we went live, but mentioned it a little bit earlier too. Just framing things in the right way, you know, and understanding like it goes back to life is only as hard as you make it. So if you're say you have a really good day or
Mhm.
like you have a great party, right? Like you host a party, you host a gathering, and it goes fantastic. But there was a little bit of drama, right? And all you do is focus on that drama that happened and how could so and so do that and blah blah blah, rather than thinking about how much fun everybody had, how thankful they were that you threw the event, and how much fun you had, the memories you made. That's what I'm talking about, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So that for me has helped me overcome a lot of things, just being in the right mindset, and not even like narcissistically, or not narcissistically necessarily, but just toxically positive, if you will. You
Yeah.
know, positive for the sake of being positive when you really need to take a realist perspective on certain things. But just being positive, you know, just being positive from a realist sort of sense, leaning on the positive rather than negative, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on that. Really, you know, outside of that, it was just hard work, man. For the challenges, as far as, um, you know, again, I think the biggest challenge was getting that album out and having it be done successfully,
Mhm.
and then coordinating everything with the band. Just putting my, you know, foot to the floor with it, and then prioritizing my time, you know, so I could maintain the sanity and just the motivation, the work level too. Um, so we asked, of course, what challenges or setbacks you overcame in 2022 and how. Raul chiming in here, he says, working from home to going into work has been hard. Um, oh
Mm.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
trying to
true.
figure out what expectations are and meeting those expectations. Yeah, that is, well, I actually thought about that not too long ago because it was hard for me starting a new job working from home,
Mhm. Yeah,
not
I
knowing
would say
what,
so.
yeah, not knowing what the culture is like, or really those kind of like subtle expectations like you were mentioning, Raul. But then when you get used to it and you understand it and you flip that around, that's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is. It feels like a whole different experience. And yeah, it's just hard to adapt. So I would say that that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and too, you know, it's just a different culture. I think the beautiful thing, I think you know, I can't speak for every job, but I've never had a job that's been like the one I do now. And what's great is they know John's going to get the work done. He's going to do quality like this and that. And they don't have to hover. And they don't have to hover because I've done it consistently enough with no one hovering because I work from home, you know?
Mhm.
And so that has been a huge thing. If I went back, I'd be like you, Raul. If I went back to working in an office, um, that would be a tough transition to go back to that. It
Yeah.
really
It,
would,
it
you know.
it becomes a struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that smooths out for you, man. If you have any tips for ways that you've improved upon that, definitely let us know in the
Mhm.
chat. But
Exactly.
I hope that smooths out for you because I understand the challenge. It's funny how 2 years ago we were all like work from home. I guess, well, 2.5 years ago now, you know, work from home, blah blah blah, and now we're like, well, yeah, why would I go into work?
Yeah, exactly. Was the point. Yeah.
I was messaging one of our behavioral health specialists today.
Mhm.
I was asking her what it was like at the clinic, you know, how, because she and I are cool, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, you know, it's frozen, like blah blah blah, and it's really cold. There aren't a lot of people here." And she goes, "You work from home, right?" And I go, "Yeah, I mean, most of the time. It just depends on what the assignments are, but yeah, most of the time I'm here. However, I'm still in sweats in my own apartment." I didn't hear back from her. That was the end of the convo. She was like, "This mother."
She couldn't take it. She couldn't take it. She's like,
It's
"Oh,
just getting home and I'm
how
at
dare
work.
this guy?"
Yeah, darn you. Which it was. I mean, it was wild. You know, a lot of places had,
Dagnabbit.
yeah, a lot of places had delayed openings, but some places only delayed it to 9.
Mm.
You know, which is not much of a
It's
delay.
not exactly that's what I was gonna say. I was like, that's
Yeah.
not too much of a delay, but hey, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, I no, in all sincerity, that was just coincidence, but it was kind of funny how it timed out. But in truth, there are people that have a stereotype against working from home, you know.
Mm-hmm. No,
Oh,
yeah.
he can't be working as hard as me, blah blah. I will say this: if you're in a creative position like I am, or like our video specialist is, it's a huge benefit to be able to work from home and not have passing distractions all the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge, man. Yeah, it's incomparable. Well, okay, so goals for 2023, man. This is really how we wrap this up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
You
go
want to
ahead.
start?
Yeah, no, you go ahead and start us off, man. What you
Okay,
got for the goals
okay.
for next year, bro?
I think one of the biggest goals is to continue to grow our podcast. I think to make it better, to make it even better than where we are today. I mean, I am very thankful and very grateful for where we are, but I think we can. There's always room for improvement. So that's probably one of my bigger goals um, is to grow this podcast, grow
Yeah,
our audience, grow our YouTube channel, right? I think another thing that I want to really try and hammer in is just, job growth, right? I want to be able to grow into, um, be better, right, at my job. Whether I'm where I'm at currently, or I move on to a new location or a new position. I want to be able to just grow myself, right, grow in my career, grow in my experience. I think that's probably another thing that I really want to do.
sure.
Um, and then I think I also want to this has been something that I've been kind of, I'll say, was a little bit of a struggle this year. Just financials, right? I want to grow a little bit more in my financials. I think I've usually had a relatively, strong financial standing, but um, I think I veered off course a little bit, and so I kind of want to recorrect myself, and so I really want to kind of get back into that.
Yeah,
Um, and then I think my last thing is just I want to. It's funny because all of it is growth, right? But I think my last thing is still that growth deal. But I really want to try and strengthen the bonds that I currently have, um, and also grow ones that I have, or that I haven't had yet, or will have. So I think that's probably one of my biggest things. I think that's something that I really want to push myself for.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I got.
I want to backtrack. What I think I ask you this every year. I very well
Mm,
might. Give me something tangible
mm,
podcast for the podcast.
hmm.
What does that growth look like to you? Is there a number? Is there a feature? Is there a, that kind of a thing?
I think it's hard to say honestly, but I think one of the bigger things is I do want to grow our YouTube channel. It would be nice to be able to get to like 100 subscribers,
Yeah.
just that much. I know that's not a lot, when you're looking at these big giant YouTube channels, but I think 100 subscribers means a huge difference, or is like a big difference, right? And
It
a
is.
big change, and so that's something that I would really want to try to strive for. Whether that be we're putting out more content, or we're working for shorts, or we're doing other things like that. I think all of that gives us opportunities to grow our audience there, because again, right, we've always wanted this show, and we've always had the opportunity, or I should say, this year we've had that opportunity to be able to kind of grow with our audience, as well as being able to get that audience feedback that we've wanted since the start of our podcast. And so I just want to try to continue on that trend and get
Yep.
us to a point to where really um, we can do on more consistent basis, always having interactions on every single episode that we have, or even getting to a point maybe to where we could do like live shows. I think that would be really cool.
It'd be amazing.
um that'd be really, really awesome. So
Mhm.
um I think that's kind of what I really want to go for, and what I want to try for 2023 and kind of beyond there.
I love it. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Not to brag, but we have over 100 subscribers on our band YouTube channel.
Mm.
I only mention that. I only mention that because you're exactly right. Once we hit that number, it was so easy to get views all of a sudden. It
Hmm.
was so easy. And I'll tell you how I did it. And you know this. I know you know this. But it's by posting what they call shorts, which is basically TikTok videos or reels, those kind of things.
Hmm.
And I've said this for a long time. Our content would be gold for Instagram reels, dude. Facebook
Hmm.
reels, TikTok videos, all that stuff. It'd be perfect for it. We just need to do it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convert this rectangular box into vertical video. But I'll tell you this, TikTok is beta testing horizontal video now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep. And so my account happened to be one of the ones that's getting beta tested on it. So if it's horizontal, I can click full screen and rotate it. Um, I mean, it looks great. So it's only a matter of time till the other social media follow, and
Yeah,
then you're not have to make
exactly.
vertical video anymore. um, so no, I love it. And I want to answer Raul's here real quick. So Raul's jumping in with his 2023 goals. He says in the chat, for 2023, keep it real, find the balance between reasonable expectations and what you can accomplish. And that's a great one. And to be honest, that's one I've always struggled with because I lean to the side of uh setting out for more than I thought I could, you know.
Hmm.
For example, I gave Trip, the drummer in our band, in my band, um, a list of things I wanted to accomplish this year. At the beginning, it was like February. And to be honest, I did most of them, but I didn't create a new website. And that was because I found better ways to accomplish some of these things, to be honest, right?
Hmm.
Like I have an electronic press kit. If you guys, well, you don't have to do this. I just want to make sure it still works. If I go to Steal the Sun Band, I think
Hmm.
.com, or no, I went .net. That's what I did. Oh God, where's .com gonna take me?
Uh-oh.
um, yeah, I went .net because I wanted to save the .com for a potential actual website.
Hmm.
But if you go to stealthesunband.net, um, or no, gosh darn it, dude, I will have to check this. This is taking up too much time. I think it might just be stealthesun.net, but regardless, um, it's an electronic press kit, okay? And yeah, it's stealthesun.net. That's all it is. And it's electronic press kit. So you go on here, you see our logo, you see all our links, our songs, a quick bio about us, some videos, some photos, and that's it. It's not high quality. Um, but it gives people enough. It gives, you know, booking agents and all that kind of stuff enough to go off of to kind of get an idea of what we're about.
Yeah.
And so really what I'm saying is I kind of uh it's not that I didn't accomplish everything that I wanted to. I went about it a smarter way, right? Another thing I want to do is sign up for this site called Air Gigs, which is basically you are a session musician for hire over the internet,
Mm.
and be a great way to get our name out there, improve, accomplish that thing I was saying I wanted to improve upon, which is get outside my box of what I do on a guitar because I'm
Mhm.
approaching different people's songs, different styles, and then um make money as well, right? So it's really those kind of things. Outside of that, most of it I really have accomplished with the technicality of I will start sim racing after Christmas. I did put that on the list. But my point is I tend to set out um to steal the sun, if you will. and and no way do I ever accomplish everything. Um I don't know, man. That's a tough one. And I know I haven't gotten my goals yet, but what what would you say for this? For me, I've always been this way. Well, I won't say always. My adult life, I've been this way. I would rather set all of these goals and not get all of them done due to time constraints than I would set almost no or set fewer goals and then accomplish them all and then be like, now what?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do get that. I guess in some ways it's my mindset. I always do like being able to set my goals to I may not set all of my goals, but setting a few up and then any more that I can accomplish is kind of like icing on top. Because I think for me, I think I can be content with some of the, being able to reach those goals. And even if I achieve all of them, I can get a lot of, I don't know, maybe I can like glean a lot from just being able to complete that. And
Yeah.
I think it's, with the podcast, it's been really helpful for me to be able to reflect on even goals that I didn't set for myself that I was able to achieve. So I think maybe that's what it is. It's just I have tons of opportunities to be able to reflect and uh think about what I've already achieved or what I can achieve.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. So like, I will say this, and maybe this is better spoken to the point Raul was trying to make. I do make an abundance of goals, but I also will set them in a way of if I don't accomplish this one, that's okay. That
Hmm.
will be one for later, right?
Yeah.
These are the ones I have to get done now, and I know I can get done now. I think for me, it's about giving myself that grace if it doesn't work out the way I envisioned it to, you know.
I get that.
Um, and so, yeah, for my goals, man, I'm gonna start working on this after Christmas. I have, and this very well could just take me 2 weeks. Famous last words, but I have some solo content I want to put out there separate from my band.
Mhm.
It's a long story short, but I basically have a producer locked in already and funded due to a Kickstarter I did a few years back. So I want to take the opportunity to put out my own solo stuff, and then when I do acoustic solo, and be like, hey, I'm not I could still say I'm John Smith from Steal the Sun, or I could just be like I'm John P. Smith, and
Mhm.
you can go find my music online, blah blah blah, this and that. So um, I want to get that done, but the main thing, the big things, you hit the nail on the head with three of them, man. I want to continue to invest in the people that I'm close to, uh, and grow those. All the people I mentioned earlier, obviously yourself included. Um, and just yeah, invest my time and my energy into those people. um that no tangible goal there, just want to continue to do that. That's who I am, and
Yeah.
I want to get the finances in order as well, still paying off some album release debt, and I want to learn from that experience and not replicate it the next time I put content out. you
Mhm.
um and I've learned things I don't need to pay for, and I've learned things that I do,
Yeah.
so um and then what would the other thing be? Oh yeah, the podcast, like you mentioned. So I want to invest more in the podcast because I firmly believe, man, the missing piece of the puzzle is our social media presence. That's it.
Mm.
Because obviously I say that obviously we're doing well on social media with the live streams. I'm
Yeah.
talking the short form content. You know
Mhm.
that's it. That's all we got to do, man. It will transform this world for us, like this part of our world. So I agree with that. Yeah. So for me, I really what I want to do is keep the shows going in 2023. Obviously, I mentioned earlier we had some really good opportunities for Steal the Sun. Um, and then I want to continue to grow those
Mhm.
opportunities. I'm gonna keep reaching out. Here's kind of something fun. I've kind of created this relationship with Johnny Hawkins, the lead singer of Nothing More,
Mm.
Instagram, and he and I go back and forth every couple of posts. And I'm like, at what point and how? Because eventually, if you're in a position like his, and somebody starts to like message you too much, you're gonna be like, all right, buddy, like,
Yeah.
I got a life to live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know you. But uh, I want to get into lineups with bands of their level where maybe we're the first opener of the night that's not even on the bill and we're playing like 20 minutes. I want that. That's a great opportunity nonetheless. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, and just to put it on your resume, I want that. I want to put out a 3-song EP this next year, not a 6-song. 3 songs, a lot more palatable. Well, not palatable, palatable from the creation standpoint.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think we need 6 more songs right now. People are still learning about the first 6 songs. Um, but I want to do it as a band. I want to do it with Trip and Christian and myself. This last one was Blake, and then I did everything else. Um, I want to have Christian playing or bass and Trip playing drums, and then I take care of the guitar and the vocals. So
Yeah.
um, I really want to do that. And man, yeah, just those are kind of the big ones. I want to work toward. I think the last one for me, man. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this too.
Mm.
But the um, freelancing, I want to grow with that. You know,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that I think that is a great opportunity, and I think it's something that can be um I mean, and, we already talked about this a little bit earlier today, but I think gives you a great opportunity that great stepping stone, right, to be able to move into bigger and better things, especially for your especially for for all of your music stuff. Like
yeah,
I think it really just gives you that boost, or it can give you that boost that you really need to be able to just get to that next level. So
yeah,
I think that's a great idea and a great opportunity to pursue.
yeah. Freelance recording, freelance writing for copy editing, not music related,
Hmm.
more tailored to my my career, obviously.
Yeah.
um those type of things, I want to give that a shot. So Raul, I just noticed, man, and I appreciate the reactions here. I'm glad you stuck with us because I actually just
Hmm.
started this and I don't know that I knew this, but if you comment, if we share the stream and you comment on our share of it rather than the actual stream itself, we don't see that.
Mm.
I just learned that because I saw your comments you had earlier, so I wasn't ignoring you. I'm glad you stuck with it. Yeah, so that's good to know. Well, man, I think we had a really good discussion on this.
Oh yeah, I think so, man. Like all of our year end reviews, man. Um, it's really great to reflect. It's really great to kind of predict and be ready for what's coming next. Um, I always really enjoy these episodes, and it really is a great way to kind of also see, or not see, but s- talk about what we were able to accomplish.
Yeah,
Um, kind of stuff, and especially because sometimes you look back and you're like, man, I didn't even know that I did this, or I didn't even know that I could do this, but I did.
absolutely.
So yeah, I always love these.
I do too. And again, I thought about that. I really thought hard about this before we started recording it because there were a lot of those moments this past year. 2022 was a great one, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think 2023 is going to be that much better. I genuinely feel like this. And I told Blake this. Blake and I had this conversation late last year. The steps that we took in 2021 set us up for success in 2022. And now I feel like that with 2023. These are the ways that you, again, to tie all of it together, you have to frame these things this way,
Mhm.
and just look at it with that outlook.
Yeah.
It's powerful, it's important. So yeah, I think we had a good discussion on this. You know what we need to do next week?
Mm.
We need to um, we need to do our best of that we did
Yes.
last year. Yep.
Yes. Yes. I think so.
Yeah, we need to do our best of 2022. Not a best of the podcast, but a best of the things in automobiles, tech.
Mhm.
I already know what my number one is for tech.
Yeah.
That's an easy number one, man. If you've been following the podcast, you should know. Uh,
Mhm.
so I think we had a great discussion on this. Really appreciate everybody that jumped in on the live stream. Um, it meant a lot on the live stream. This is before Christmas. Obviously, if you're listening on the audio, this is after Christmas.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of the busy holiday rush, and we hope that you have a very Merry Christmas as well. And you know, next time you'll hear from us will be either right before the new year or right after it. So
Yeah.
exciting time. Um, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch up with you next week.